Hey, so it's been a minute, a little over a week this time, just because life kind of does that. But this is the Linux Progress Report number 3. So first thing I want to talk about is switching to Krita from GIMP. 'Cause I don't like GIMP. I can't get over how weird it is coming from Photoshop, and I hear tons of people say, "Well, it's amazing once you get it," but I don't really want to put forth the effort to learn a whole new, what's effectively like a whole new language, just to edit some thumbnails, you know? So, got rid of GIMP. I still have GIMP, I just don't use it yet. I might put forth the effort one day, but for now, Krita just does everything I need it to do when it comes to editing these thumbnails, which is very little. And I've used it before, so I'm familiar with it, and it's pretty similar to Photoshop, luckily. I also keep using kdenlive. I'm using kdenlive to edit this video. I also use OBS, and I love kdenlive. It's the first free, like, open software I've ever loved using. I used Premiere for years, and before that I used Vegas. And actually I stopped using Vegas because they updated it, and the update for the version I had, which was like 13 or something, they removed graphics acceleration for rendering unless you bought the new version. They were basically extorting me to upgrade, and so I switched to Premiere from there, which is just so much better than Vegas. And then from Premiere I switched to kdenlive, and I've fully switched. Like, I embrace it. This is just so much better. The tools that I have are similar enough to Premiere, and it took a minute to kind of figure out, like, applying LUTs, or LUTs, however you pronounce it, LUTs, and color grading. I had to go to, timeline, add effects, color grade, and LUT. It's in a couple menus, but I got the hang of it, and I can do it pretty fast now. The next thing I want to talk about is I don't like any email client that I've come across on here. I've tried Firebird, or Thunderbird, I've tried, what's the other ones? I think I still have them installed. One second, let's see. The other one was Mailspring? Yeah, Mailspring. Didn't like it. They're just very ugly and kind of clunky. And it doesn't make sense, because you think with all these people poking and prodding around the code, they would have at some point cleaned it up. It's like it's entirely programmer art. Like, they're like, oh, this is temporary, we'll replace it eventually. That's how it really comes across. I don't like it. But I just use the websites for now, and that works. I will eventually find something, but it's fine. The next thing, I fixed my boot problem. I actually fixed it right after recording the previous one. And that was, the problem was Windows Boot Manager was always the priority. It was always the top of the list, no matter how I tried to move it. So to boot into my Manjaro, I had to spam F11 at startup and then select it in the boot menu every single time, which was just annoying. But what I had to do was go into my BIOS, enable Legacy, go to the hard drive I wanted, my SSD, and go to Properties and make sure it is selected, and then I could move the boot manager underneath it under Properties, and it just worked after that, and I never had the issue. Another issue that got fixed was just magically fixed in a kernel update, and that was the whole shutdown thing, where it would just not shut down. I don't know what fixed it, other than that I updated a whole bunch of stuff. This was back when my NVIDIA drivers broke, and I upgraded, and then I was like, oh, there's an even later kernel, upgraded to that, broke everything, restored back to the previous one, and it fixed the boot problem, or the shutdown problem. So I'll chalk that up to a win. I'm not gonna cry over it magically getting fixed. What's next? So I tried to get a game to work that I didn't think would work, and I haven't gotten it working yet. That's Star Wars Galaxies. I wanted to get into it because I like Star Wars, and I thought, why not? I have nothing better to do than to play this 20-year-old game. I was gonna get the Galaxy Legends was my first goal. I downloaded Galaxies. I installed it through Lutris to its own wine prefix. Then I switched over to try to install the Legends launcher, and it wouldn't open because it required Java, and I can't figure out how to install Java to that specific wine prefix. So then I was like, fine, I'll try Legends, Galaxies, Star Wars Galaxies, Emu, whatever it is, the other one. And there's actually a specific launcher on Lutris for it. The problem is it just doesn't work. I will get it to install and point to the right thing and then open the launcher, and the launcher never detects that the game is installed. It's really weird. I'm gonna get it to work. I'm determined. It's just gonna take a bit. I'm gonna have to figure it out. I've also installed some GOG games through Lutris, and that works great. Like, I've had no issues with that. I installed Vampire the Masquerade, and it just worked. But through this, I learned how to mount ISOs through the terminal, which was very interesting, because coming from Windows, you had to get, like, Power ISO or whatever. But this, you can just type in the terminal, you know, / mount ISO, whatever, and it just works, which is pretty great. And I understand Windows recently added a similar thing to Windows, which is kind of interesting that they did that. But I don't know. I'm reading a script because I'm a little scatterbrained today. It's not a script, it's just like bullet points of what I want to talk about. I have a LibreOffice open up over here, which no issues transitioning to LibreOffice, by the way. I had fully transitioned before even switching to Linux. I even got my whole family switching over to it because it's just free. You know, no monthly subscription. We can all just have effectively Word and Excel and all that, and I use all of it. And it's fantastic. It's like another really good open software. That and Kdenlive are like the best. Let's see. So I have a server that I run Plex off of, and I also will run games for me and my friends to play. Like, I had an Arc server and stuff like that running off of it. And recently I ran into an issue where it was attacked by ransomware and everything was encrypted. So I completely scrapped everything, and it was running Ubuntu, which I just don't like Ubuntu. I'm sorry, like, it bugs you for updates every time you open it. I would update, next time I'd open it, a big pop-up asking for an update. And on VNC, that's already a little laggy, having to do that was just a hassle. So I tried Fedora. I got Fedora ISO, popped it on a flash drive, popped it in the server. I think this was Fedora 33 or 32. I don't fully remember. But it lagged. There's no graphics card in this server. It's a Xeon something or other from like 2013. And it's kind of underpowered, but it does what I needed to do just fine. It's a little Power Edge like tower server shoved in my closet. But Fedora lagged. And eventually I decided to go with my old default, which is just Pop! OS, because it's light enough and it just works. And it doesn't lag. It runs on laptops just fine. I don't know what Fedora's problem was, and I really wanted to try Fedora because I hear it's like really stable and it's got all these things. I also thought about CentOS, but just really didn't want to do that right now. So yeah, it's got Pop! OS on it, which my laptop also runs Pop! OS. So it's just Ubuntu with a slightly different skin slapped on it. But it doesn't bug me as much about updates. Just like Manjaro, if there's an update, there's a little thing in the notification thing, but I can just ignore that or even disable it, which is great. Let's see. So I'm slowly committing more and more of this computer to this Linux. I haven't opened up Windows since I switched. And I just recently reclaimed one of my spare hard drives that had Windows stuff on it to Linux. I just reformatted it and partitioned it for Linux and slapped it on here. And I'm slowly shrinking down my Windows partition worth of stuff on all my hard drives to till it's non-existent. Yeah, I've just really been enjoying it. Which brings me to this last topic I want to talk about. And that's the future of these videos. So I don't think I should keep doing progress reports, because I'm not really going to be making too much progress per se, because it's all kind of stable at this point on this desktop. You know, it's where I want it. I might tweak a few things here or there, but for the most part, this is it. And that doesn't make for a good video for me to open and say nothing has changed. So this might turn into, instead of a progress report, I'm going to keep doing Linux content because I'm passionate about it and I like it and it's currently an obsession of mine. But it might switch into a like, let's experiment and try things kind of thing. Like, let's, I don't know, mess around with wine and see if I can improve performance, and I'll screen cap it and like show the whole process, or like how to install some weird obscure game. I might try to do my troubleshooting with Star Wars Galaxy and just record all of it. And then edit it, of course, to make it a little faster. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. I'm going to keep doing Linux content. I just don't know what yet. Because I don't think that this current format is super sustainable. I don't know. So, this is probably the last personal progress report. For Manjaro, anyways. Yeah. See ya.